Boys. I have the best wife in the world. Wow. So this is our anniversary lunch. Yummy pho soup.
Like a good girl. Like a good girl.
It's very short, huh?
I'm going to start today with the new sock set because I'm the most excited by it. I can't wait to cast it on. I literally just wove in every single end, which feels nice. So I'm definitely going to be picking that up. Hello, welcome to a homespun house. My name is Molly and I am the creator behind a homespun house. And I am looking forward to chatting with you guys today about all of the things that I have been knitting, because I have knit quite a bit since we last spoke. Honestly, a few of the things that I've knit, I don't even have here to share with you guys. I knit and completed an entire sweater in fingering weight yarn that I knit for my mom. I've sent that to her in America. I shared pictures a few days ago on my Instagram of my mom wearing that sweater. So it turned out perfectly. The fit is just as I had hoped. I'm very, very happy about that. And yeah, it was really fun to knit. I knitted on our non-superwash yarn. I think I even have the extra skeins here. I knit it in our barley colorway, which I know is one of my mom's favorites. And then I used Galileo, which this was the main color for the pullover. And I did the Flax Light by Tin Can Knits. So that was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed making that for my mom. And I'm happy that I finished it before the summer ended. That was the goal, to have it finished and sent out to my mom so that she could wear it on the cooler evenings. They also have air conditioning. So maybe even while she's cozied up indoors, or like I said, just cozier, cooler evenings, and then being able to wear it once the fall rolls around. Maybe I'll show you the sweater that I'm working on for myself right now. So all of my knits have taken a hiatus. I'll explain that later, but this is the sweater that I'm knitting for myself. It is called the Ingrid sweater or pullover. Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit, and I am knitting this using our DK weight non-superwash yarn. So I'm knitting a size medium, and I'm using our chamomile colorway. This is, I'm not alternating skeins as a side note. When I knit with our non-superwash yarn, I've never alternated skeins. Now I know a lot of people recommend alternating skeins, and I would 100% recommend that if you are using anything variegated, speckled, definitely would recommend alternating your skeins. But when I am dyeing my non-superwash yarn specifically for a pullover for myself, I take immense care to try to get each skein of yarn as similar as possible. Is there color difference from skein to skein even still? Yes. But I still think it's not great, and I don't enjoy alternating skeins. So I'm very, very happy with the way my non-superwash garments have turned out. So I have the body finished. This is the back, or this is the front and this is the back. There's some short row shaping that's done here to make the back go up a little bit higher. As you can see, this is just an end that I wove in that needs to be snipped here. And I did not do a turtleneck like it calls for in the pattern. I like the way this looks so much better. I like the way it fits so much better. I think it's a lot more wearable. So this is the only alteration that I've made to this sweater. And now I've started the sleeves, and now I'm at a section where I need to start doing some short row shaping on the sleeves. I've never done that before. It looks very, very simple, but I don't know, it kind of held me up. We were at our bungalow and it was time to do the short row shaping, and I was just like, oh, I don't feel like really reading a pattern right now. And this pattern, most of it, you don't have to read a pattern other than this chart, but it still is very, very mindless. Even though it has a lot of texture, it is such a fun knit. And if I didn't say this is, I did, I said it a bunch of times, our chamomile colorway. And I think I will end up using a total of, for the size medium, a total of probably 450 grams. So about 4.5 skeins of yarn for the size medium. If any of you are a size medium and are interested in knitting that pullover. It is actually written for a fingering weight skein of yarn held with mohair, but which I love. I also, don't get me wrong, I love fingering weight yarn and mohair. I have quite a few sweaters knit with that exact blend, but I absolutely adore our non-superwash yarn on its own. The festival sweater, My Size by Petite Knit that I knit recently, the one that I knit out of oatmeal, and then it has the pink and mustardy stripes. I love the way that feels. And so I decided that I was going to knit something with the same exact yarn base in a beautiful, vibrant yellow, which I love. And just the knit with the color has brought me so much joy. It's such a happy, fun color that I think I'll be happy to wear all year round. So I think it will look great with all colors, blue jeans, black jeans, skirts. That's the other sweater that I'm working on now. I have been knitting a lot of socks. So I don't even know exactly which socks I shared with you guys the last time, but I don't think it's any of the ones that I have here to show you. At least 2 of the socks that I've knit since I last podcast, I know I don't have here. They're at our bungalow. One is a shorty pair of socks that's just like a rollover. They're super sweet. I knit them using one of our sock sets that are in the shop right now. And then I knit a pair of jelly rolls also using a sock set that's currently in the shop. But all of that aside, here are the ones that I can show you. So I knit these crunkled socks by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bear. I have 3 10-gram minis and then this 50-gram skein of yarn. This is our Walking on Sunshine sock set, and this is currently in the shop right now. It is almost sold out though. So this is a really, really fun, bright, primary colorway. I had so much fun knitting these, and I've knit a lot of Kay's sock patterns. The crunkled sock is definitely the one that I've done the most, and I really, really enjoy that sock pattern. So the next textured pair of socks that I've knit, and this is also a sock set that we have in the shop right now, is the Rhinebeck Roomies socks. And that is a pattern by Kay Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady. And this is another 80-gram sock set that we currently have in the shop with 3 10-gram minis. I knit size American 9 or a German 40 sock, and I definitely have enough yarn to make a full-size pair of socks with the 50-gram skein with a bit left over. I think you could probably do probably up to a size 13 with a 50-gram, as long as you use the heels, cuffs, and toes. And then the next socks that I knit these out of our Good Vibrations sock set. This is a pattern that I just kind of made up on my own. And these were a lot of fun to make. Really, really enjoyed. This is using 5 20-gram minis. And we have these in the shop as well. The next pair of socks that I knit is the Blueberry Waffle socks. This was knit using our Summer of 69 sock set. We don't have any of these in the shop anymore. I had 120-gram skeins, and then I had 80-gram skeins, like the one that you'll see here. So this was so much fun. I've really been enjoying knitting textured socks lately. The next pair of socks that I finished is just a plain stockinette pair of socks. I don't remember why I knit a stockinette pair of socks, but I did. I knit these in the size for one of my girls. I can't remember who I knit these for, but this was a Patreon sock set. It didn't come with these 3, but the main skein came along with our Patreon sock set. So there is that one. The next pair of socks that I finished is yet another pair of blueberry waffle socks. This is from a Patreon sock set that I dyed up for our patrons. And yeah, I love the way these turned out. They are so bright, super fun. I can't remember what I called this sock set, but I think it might have been called Beach Baby. That seems about right. So this is really fun and punchy and poppy. It didn't come with these 3 mini skeins, but these are all minis that our patrons have received before. So they could definitely use them for this pair of socks. The next pair of socks that I knit was a sock set that we had in the shop. This was called Dancing in the Street, and I knit this pair of socks using, again, Kay Litton from the Crazy Sock Lady, her Rhinebeck Roomies sock pattern. So this was a lot of fun doing the Rhinebeck Roomies again. I enjoy it. I like the way that it looks with all of the socks. The final pair of socks that I finished knitting is our, I think it was a Summer Sunsets was the name of this sock set. This was, again, a Patreon yarn. This was for July's patrons who are on the top, the highest tier. And this is so pretty. So this is Summer Sunsets, and then I paired it with Ditzy, which is a tonal that we have available in our shop. And again, I knit these using a stockinette stitch pattern. And I don't remember why I chose a stockinette stitch for this pair of socks. I think I must have been doing something where I really, really could not pay attention. Like, I don't know if I had a patron chat or if I was like talking a lot or we had company when I was casting these on and I wanted to knit on something. I really don't remember, but I did decide to do a plain stockinette stitch pair of socks and enjoyed them. So I am currently working on a pair of socks, and this features a brand new colorway for a homespun house, which is very, very exciting. When we lived in America, I had my mom working with me for the first year, and then the second year I had my sister working with me. Then we moved here, and I was not able to keep up on my own. I don't know how many glimpses of the shop that you have had, especially if you're not patrons, because, I mean, I don't podcast that often, but the shop is very, very empty, and it has been extremely empty since we moved to Germany. I decided that I needed to hire somebody to work for a homespun house. Also, I have been very, very extremely ill since November. I don't mean like a cold or a flu. I've gotten those in the meantime, but I have had a lot of health issues. And so, yeah, I decided that I needed to hire somebody. And so we found a wonderful woman who lives quite near to our studio. She is currently working on finishing up all of 2022 advents. They are all dyed, they are all spun. She's finishing up putting the labels, which I think she's almost finished with them. And then she'll start putting them into all of their bags. And so that has freed up so much of my creative time, knowing that Tina is her name. It's not Tina from Berlin. I've had a lot of friends named Tina since we've moved to Germany. But this Tina will be preparing yarn so that I can dye it. She will be winding yarn, and she will be labeling yarn. And that is what she will be doing for her full job. There definitely is that available for her. And I am so grateful and so happy that I made the choice to hire somebody, because it has really freed up my creative mind. I know now that I can come and dye new colorways for the shop. I just pop them all in bins. And I know that when I come home from summer holidays in September, I will be able to have a lot of new colorways that will come out, and she can wind all of those as soon as she finishes Advents, and we'll start popping brand new autumnal colorways in the shop. I have so many plans for yarns that I'm going to be dyeing now that I actually have the brain space for it, now that I actually will have the time for it, because I was spending 15 to 20% of my time dyeing yarn, not even 10%. And the rest of the time was all working on winding, labeling, prepping, packaging orders, all of that, doing all of that stuff. And I wasn't really able to bring a lot to the shop. And so now I am hoping that all that I will be doing for a homespun house is dyeing yarn and packaging orders. And who knows, maybe in a couple of months, I will say I need somebody to come and just pack orders, and that's what they do. It's something that I am really, really considering, is having 2 people on at a homespun house, helping around the studio with prepping, finishing the yarn, and then packaging up orders. But this is one of the colorways that I have come up with for the fall, along with many, many others that are currently in bins, ready to be spun by Tina. And I can't tell you how good it feels to have that empty space in my mind for creativity. It feels amazing. So here is the new color. It's really, really, really rich midnight shade. Gray toned with all of these poppy, not poppy like the flower, but like punchy poppy colors. So I'm knitting a sock with this. I decided I wanted to do what I've been doing with so many of my socks. You guys, the sun has just come really weirdly in here. I thought I would do what I've been doing with all of my socks, where I'm doing 3 different colors for the cuff, heel, and toe, just so you guys can kind of get a picture. And I thought that I would do 3 colors again for this pair of socks. Even though it's a deep, moody color, I thought it would be really fun to add some brighter, more fun shades to the sock. So I'm just doing a stockinette sock again. I'm knitting this on our plump merino base. We will have this exact sock set in the shop in the fall. I'm going to use this for the heel, and then I'm going to use this for the toe. I think it's going to look beautiful. I am enjoying this color palette so much. It's such a fun knit. I love knitting on socks, let's be honest here. However, I've had to put this pair of socks down, and I've had to put my sweater that I've been knitting for myself down. And the reason for that is our littlest one starts 1st grade this year. And in Germany, you have something called an Einschulung. It's a big party before your child starts their 1st year of school, 1st grade. And they have these massive Zuckertüten, which means like a sugar bag. It's not a sugar bag. It is like a big cone. It looks like an ice cream cone almost, but it's made out of like, it's huge, like 70 centimeters to a meter tall. And it's either handmade, made out of fabrics, or it can be made just out of a really, really thick paper. And you fill these with school supplies, maybe like a little treat for the child, but you'd fill them with like their box that they put their bread in. You'd fill it with their pencils and crayons and sharpeners. You'd fill it with just some fun little creative things for them that they could maybe also use at home. You might add a little doll or a handmade blanket in there. So I don't know why I thought of this as late as I did, but I got it in my head yesterday that I wanted to make Ruby, my youngest daughter, a habitation throw. So she's wanted a habitation throw for quite a while. She's asked me for one for quite a while. She uses blankets all the time when she plays. I made Elodie a habitation throw. Was it only 2 years ago? I think it might have only been 2 years ago. It seems like much longer than that. And she sleeps with hers every night. She brings it with her. If she goes somewhere to sleep with, it is with her in bed. And she loves that blanket. And I've asked Ruby a couple of times if she wants one pretty quickly after I made Elodie's, and Ruby said, yeah, but I want mine to be rainbow. And I'm like, but Elodie's is rainbow. No, it needs to be in rainbow order. So I'm not really into rainbow knits. It's just not something aesthetically that I enjoy. I don't enjoy just rainbow everything. It's not my taste. So I don't know, I held off on it, which is funny because it wasn't for me. So maybe I just didn't think that I would enjoy knitting it. I don't know. Yesterday I was looking through a basket filled with all of my Patreon minis. It's not all of my Patreon minis because we've had Patreon, I think, for 4 years now, maybe 3 or 4 years now. We have almost 500 daily vlogs on Patreon. Yeah, I had a lot of Patreon minis, and I knit Elodie's from one set of Patreon minis, and then I grabbed some for Ruby's. So I chose 40 for hers. We have 400 grams of fingering weight yarn. So they're 10-gram minis, and I decided that I would knit 2 a day. It's August 1st. I started on the 31st. That literally means that I will be finished by the 20th. And Ruby's Einschulung, or her school party, is the last weekend in August. So I definitely have enough time if I stick to that. So yesterday I did 2, and today I've done 1, and I've started the second color, and I am doing these in rainbow order. I've tried to do a bit more bright color. Now this is a really difficult representation. It makes it look like I'm only using neon, but I'm not. I am definitely not using only neon. So I have the first 20 here. So I have 200 grams in this cake, and then I have 200 grams in this cake. But if you look at the bottom, it looks a little bit different than the top. I feel like the bottom is a better color representation, but isn't this blanket going to be gorgeous? I'm so excited by it. So the thing is, I was going to say the problem is, but is it really a problem? We are going to our bungalow tomorrow. We've been home for a little while. We've all been sick. Not Ruby or Elodie really, because they're young. They have great, wonderful, amazing immune systems. But Robert and I have been sick. Robert's parents have been sick. Our neighbors at our bungalow were sick. They started it as a side note and got Robert's dad sick. Then they got Robert sick. Then they got me sick. Then they got Elodie sick. Elodie had a teeny tiny cold. Nothing crazy, but Robert and I were in bed exhausted. We were not well. So we've been home, as I said, for a good while, but we are finally returning back to our bungalow. And if you are patrons, you will know that we have purchased our own bungalow. The bungalow that we've always stayed at belongs to Robert's parents. It feels like all of ours though, because we all have taken care of it. And Robert's parents definitely the most, don't get me wrong. But now we have our own, and it is probably a 1 to 3 minute walk from Robert's parents' bungalow. And we are completely tearing it apart and making it our own. So it is beautiful. It is a lot of work, but it is definitely doable. And I feel like we are halfway there. We're having painters come in 3 days to paint everything. They have to fix some parts on the drywall, but because we had drywall put in, we've knocked out the floors down to dirt. We knocked out all the walls down to the foundation of the house. So this is really starting from scratch, but almost more, because you have to take everything apart. And so anyway, I'm going off track. We're heading back because we have to work, and we have to work on the bungalow. Not we, Robert. I watch the girls. Robert works on the bungalow. He helps the people who are there doing things for us at the bungalow, which I think is really nice. He doesn't just like watch them. The painters, for example, we're paying them to paint for us, but he will help them. Robert isn't a person who can just stand and watch. He will be like, give me what I can do and I will help you for what you're doing. That's what he does. So yeah, and it's going to be hot. So I don't know how a massive blanket, this is the Habitation throw by Helen Stewart. I want to say that. I don't want to forget who it's by and the name of it. Even though I'm sure many of you have knit this already, have heard of it already, but I've shown it a few times on Instagram, and I know a lot of people didn't know what it was. So this is such a fun, addictive knit. It's knit using our soft sock base, and I'm mixing tonals and speckles together, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun to pull out of here. I always kind of have a guess as to what colorway is going to come out, but I've already been wrong once. Sometimes what's kind of coming out of here can trick you. So it is very fun. But we'll see. I know I will knit 2 a day. I need to knit 2 a day because I want to have this finished. I want Ruby to have this beautiful hand knit blanket in with her Tsuka so she has something handmade by me. I think that will be really nice and special. And Elodie has one too. And like I said, Ruby loves her blankets when she's playing. And I think she will really treasure this. This is something that you have forever, pretty much, unless you lose it. So this will be a nice lap-sized blanket for Ruby. So I'm really enjoying that. Currently in the shop, we don't have any more advents. I am so sorry. Those are all sold out, but we have a lot of sock sets. We have tons of mini sets. I say check out our 20 gram minis and 10 gram mini sets. If you guys want to knit a Habitation throw, 4 sets are the perfect amount to make a nice lap-sized blanket for yourself, or you can get 1 or 2 to add to your minis that you have. Minis are so much fun, so addictive. I think it takes me an hour or an hour and a half to add each stripe to this blanket. So little hour and a half of a new color, a new something that you get to knit on each day. I definitely enjoy it. We also have all of those sock sets that I just shared with you guys in the shop. These will not be back until next summer, spring, if that. Who knows where my creativity will take me, if I'll be interested in something else once next spring, summer hits. So it was great chatting with you guys. I hope that you are all having a wonderful summer or winter, depending upon where you are. And I'll see you guys around Instagram. Bye.